between May and end of the year, we collected over 100,000 hours of driving data. So that's over 600,000 hours of video data. So size of the data was over 1 petabyte. Don't ask me about the cloud cost. We just closed a deal with Valeo, one of the largest automotive OEM suppliers, to build a world foundational model. We're very proud to actually work with them and build arguably one of the largest open source multi-camera world foundational models. But a world foundational model can basically generate a simulated version of our reality with the physics of it.
The simulated reality of, like, you know, if we took a couple pictures of someone walking here, we can have the world foundational model have them continue to walk. And so then it's like everyone that's a static image becomes like a moving character, but it's simulated. That's interesting. Well, Alireza, welcome back to Proof of Coverage. Glad we get to catch up here maybe every 6 months or so. I think the last time was in July in Africa at the DePIN's Summit, right? So maybe give us like a couple of the quick kind of high level updates for what's new with you and NATIX since July.
So July was right after the launch of our VX360, which is the Tesla dongle that enables you to collect multi-camera data using your Tesla. So we ramped that up quite well. Actually this year, so between May and end of the year, we collected over 100,000 hours of driving data. So that's over 600,000 hours of video data, right? So size of the data was over 1 petabyte, which is insane. Don't ask me about the cloud cost. This has been quite good. And, last quarter, a lot of our efforts have compounded, especially with respect to data sales. So we actually signed multiple contracts. We also did a very cool integration with the platform that Grab provided to us. We actually called it WorldSeek. So it's not public yet, but we did a demo to our community. It's a VLM based technology, so vision language model, and it enables you or anybody to search our entire imagery database with human readable queries, right? So I think we did an announcement on it. I believe it was like mid-December, if you want to show. Exactly. Yep. This one. So you can just write in any human readable queries, even complex one, and the vision language model is going to find that where exactly it was. And you can even select the part of the map that you want the data in, and you can, for example, search for potholes or manholes or tilted traffic signs or whatever that you want to. And VLM, I'm extremely bullish on in general, as the whole robotics world and autonomous driving world is bullish on, because it's different from the traditional detection models, right? Back in the time, 5 years ago, when you wanted to detect a traffic sign or a manhole, you had to have a lot of training data, train a computer vision model to detect pothole or traffic sign, and then run it through your data, and it would only do that job, nothing else, right? So when a customer comes in and says, hey, can you detect, different traffic sign, you had to go through the process of data, training, all of that again. And this was quite, difficult and expensive, right? And with the VLMs, they are very generalistic models. And with a human readable query or a prompt, they can basically search the entire database in a quite efficient way and find, whatever you're looking for, whatever a human eye would have seen, even complex scene analysis, right? So, for example, find me, even in terms of a video, find me, when a car slows down because of a bicycle in front of it, right? It's a very complex explanation, right? So you run that as a VLM, agent on your video data, and it actually finds you all of those cases.
I love when there's like a tool that, retail or average folks can like demo or at least see use. And I can see how like big corporate paying customers would be interested in that too. So that footage is being generated from all the apps, all the NATIX apps, the VX360 and the Grab kind of like delivery driver mapping devices as well. It's like meshed together.
For now, we're not actually using the data of the Grab, because most of our use cases are outside Southeast Asia and Grab is inside Southeast Asia. But we do have a data partnership. Actually, there are a couple of cases where customer wanted Southeast Asia data, and we have been chatting with them and providing, to the customer. But we are outside Southeast Asia predominantly. So Europe, US, Japan, Middle East, and Grab is inside Southeast Asia, Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia. So in ways we're complementary, and we provide data that Grab doesn't have outside Southeast Asia to them. But yeah, generally speaking, we have been combining or getting a lot of support from their tech side, both in the hardware and software. And that's why we've been, building much, much faster. And, the focus has been last year on data monetization, use of the data monetization. And, it compounded over the last quarter. We haven't published, I think today I'm here for one of them, which is arguably one of the largest news, NATIX have had, in the history of our company and project, but we have multiple other ones that we're going to gradually, announce, and we're working with them. Also a lot of leads that I haven't closed yet, but they're in the process.
Strong pipeline. Well, yeah, let's hear about that first deal then. It sounds like a new customer, almost like a new product as well. So curious to hear the download from you.
Yeah. So, you guys are, by the way, I think, the first, media that we wanted to announce this with.
Let's go.
So we
Appreciate
just
you.
closed, a deal with, Valeo, one of the largest automotive OEM suppliers, to build a world foundational model with our data, and their knowledge around building world models. And I will explain again what world model is and why the heck NATIX is building one and why we're so bullish on a world model. And Valeo is one of the largest automotive players actually out there, right? So they have over 100,000 employees, over $20 billion of revenue in 2024. I think the numbers are Fortune 500 company, and they're supplying all kinds of technologies, including ADAS and autonomous driving technology, to pretty much all of the car manufacturers, right? European ones like Mercedes, BMW. You can go to Japanese ones like Toyota, or you can even go to the Chinese ones or Korean, or even American, car manufacturers, right? So they're very well known for building, automotive technology. And they have an arm called Valeo AI, which is, only focusing on the AI side of the story. And these are top-notch scientists and researchers that I have came across. And, we're very proud to actually work with them and build a world foundational model, arguably one of the largest open source multi-camera world foundational models. Now, this sounds like an abstract statement, so we need to dig a little bit deeper into what the hell a world foundational model is. But yeah, happy to do that.
For sure. Yeah, maybe if you could tell us about what the model is, and then how the NATIX data is used to create it, basically, and why they chose you guys specifically as the partner on this.
So world foundational model, you can think of it as an LLM, but for the real world, right? So LLM understands words. It can generate language and ideas, right? And it's trained on internet data, so to say. A world model can generate four-dimensional reality, three-dimensional space, fourth dimension being time, right? Why do we need a world model? And that comes hand in hand with physical AI. So robots, humanoids, and autonomous cars, which is a new hot topic. I think NVIDIA is not touching anything other than physical AI these days. That's where they're saying the next aha moment of AI would be. Humanoids are extremely hot. Autonomous driving has never been closer to reality than today. But a world foundational model can basically generate a simulated version of our reality with the physics of it, right? Now, why do we need a world foundational model? Why do we need a simulated version of our reality? Well, because you can train a robot or an autonomous car purely inside this simulated version of reality to do the jobs that you want it to do, right? Without it having ever been in the real world, right? So I give you an example in the automotive case. If Waymo wants to expand their jurisdiction to London or Germany or, Netherlands, usually they used to go and collect data from those jurisdictions because it's different traffic behavior, right? London is even on the other side of the road. You have more cyclists than you have in San Francisco. It's different traffic behavior, right? Netherlands, Amsterdam is insane with the cyclists that you have. So being able to, exactly. So you had to go collect data in those places and then train your model, to be able to drive in those scenarios, right? With a world model, you can train your AI completely inside a simulated version of London or simulated version of Amsterdam, right? And it actually can drive at the end of the day. And it just increases the speed of production and global adoption by 10, 100x, if not even more. That's why every physical AI company in one shape or form is trying to create a world foundational model. Now, here's a caveat. Now, world foundational model is replacing real world data, right? It's a synthetic version of the data. But to build a world foundational model, you need a lot of data. The same way that for building an LLM, you needed a lot of data. You still need a lot of data, right? And companies like OpenAI have been investing a ton into getting that data, scraping the data, getting that data. So same thing goes with the world model. You need a lot of real world data and you need diversity, right? You cannot build a world model that can generate London if it has never seen any data from London, right? Same thing goes with the rest of the world. So that's kind of where NATIX comes to the game, because we have been doing an amazing job in collecting data, a very diverse set of data, right? We have over, as I said, 600,000 hours of video data. This is in Japan. This is in US. This is in UK. This is in Europe. So it's pretty diverse. Pretty much all of the places that the automotive industry would care about right now, as a highest priority. And that's why, building a world model that is using a diverse set of data, and a lot of it is extremely important. And that's why they chose us for having, for building the world model.
Yeah, very exciting. I think something that helped me conceptualize maybe what that would look like was when you said like it's 4D. So obviously like Google Street View is 3D, right? Like they took static images and kind of stitched them together, and you can like walk down a street in Google Street View. But it sounds like the world foundational model is 4D in the sense that like if you capture enough high quality video footage from a street, it's 3D in the sense you can walk down it, but then the 4D part is like the simulated reality of like, if we took a couple pictures of someone walking here, we can have the world foundational model have them continue to walk. And so then it's like everyone that's a static image becomes like a moving character.
Exactly.
But it's simulated. That's interesting. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, what you can also do with world models, so these are other use cases of world model, right? Let's say you have some clips of data from London, or even some frames, right, of roads in London. And then what you can ask a world model to do is, hey, generate me a minute clip and add a certain edge case or a long tail scenario into it, right? So a car coming, for example, from the front and losing the sight and wanting to hit me, right? Or change the weather condition. Make this into a harsh rain. Make this into a fog, kind of very foggy kind of. And why are these important? Because suddenly you can create all these different variations of your data. And I'm not sure if you followed, but when NVIDIA recently published an open source end-to-end model for driving, they put it on a Mercedes-Benz CLA, and everybody was basically, shorting Elon. Never do that, by the way. The history has shown that whoever shorts Elon will lose the game. And Elon was saying, yes, it's good. The thing can drive, but the detail is in the long tail scenarios. And whoever is going to win this autonomous driving game is the one that has trained their model on the longest set of long tail scenarios, right? Edge cases, situations that, like dangerous overtaking, harsh weather conditions, all these different variations of situations that are not normal. It's not a boring drive in a highway and just keep the lane, right? And no crazy stuff will happen. And I think that's why Tesla is a few years ahead of the game, right? And again, that's why world model in any shape or form will help us and any company to reach their much, much faster because it can generate all of these long tail scenarios and edge cases synthetically, and make your model even more resistant towards all of these special kind of cases. I did send you a link, by the way, if you want to show something to your viewers. There's a company called Wave. They also have a world model out there. Or there is another project, open source ones we can also show to the audience. So you kind of get an idea of what it means to also generate a multi-camera kind of version, which is completely synthetic, right? These are not real world data. So you can see like they're one of the famous world models that are out there. And then there are multiple of these, right? So this is closed source, by the way. So they are, very good actually in world models, and this is not open source, but then there are also open source ones that are out there. So our goal is that the version that we're going to publish will be open source, which I think would be a great contribution also to the industry. It's not just, and then we're gonna take that and try to make it even better. But it was important for us also for this to be open source.
For sure. And it sounds like Wave could potentially be a customer as well, right? If I don't know how they're sourcing their road footage that they're using to create synthetic footage today, but I'm sure eventually you guys will surpass, if you haven't already, their ability to capture real world data. Yeah.
So I think we're going extremely fast. And when I look at the numbers, again, what we have achieved, and we're amplifying that as well in the coming months. But I think we're going to have arguably one of the largest data sets out there in terms of real world multi-camera data that can be used for autonomous driving applications like world model, or end-to-end model. And again, the larger the data set and the more long tail scenarios you have in these data sets, the better the world model will get, which means that the better the final model that you're going to train based on a world model will get, right? So whoever has the longest set of long tails will lead the space, in my opinion. And that's not just my opinion. Actually, that's what Elon has been saying as well. And I think, Tesla did this the best way, right? They are a data engine, and their system is getting better and better over time. But yeah, it's extremely important for having a large quantity of data, and crowdsourcing that actually is better than just collecting it in a centralized way, because it's more natural, right? There are more long tail scenarios and edge cases, right? Because you have natural driving, people that are not just driving to get to, because these data collection vehicles, they're even trained drivers. So it's a little bit different. You maybe get a little bit filtered version, right? But when you have completely crowdsource approach, you actually get the true taste of the real wild world.
Right. And maybe just to round out the Valeo deal news. So how they're an OEM, like you said, a vehicle OEM, like how are they planning to use the world foundational model that you're building for them? Are they going to go try to sell access to that to autonomous driving companies? Are they simulating the performance of their parts on the road? What is their use case?
So both of us are actually working on use cases on top of that. I tell you, so world model has two use cases. One of them, you can generate synthetic data for training purposes. So you can train, models, right? Agents, navigation models that can actually operate the car. The second one is for testing. And that is like once you have created your agent, now you want to test it in the simulation environment. And that is again, inside the simulation environment, you can use, you have to generate scenarios, right? To test your car. Or like simple ones are right turn, left turn, lane change. The more challenging ones are the edge cases, right? Dangerous overtaking. How would your car behave in this situation, right? And again, for testing purposes, you use a lot of synthetic data, which is generated by the world model. But you can also that's again why NATIX is very important, because you cannot only rely on synthetic data for both training and testing and validation, because the AI will hallucinate. So we will have, let's say, we would need 10 to 20% real world scenarios and edge cases to test, and that is also very important. So it's going to be both for training and for testing inside simulation environment.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I was curious, what's the latest with the the BitTensor subnet, like part of the business or idea. I remember seeing something about that a while ago, but I'm curious like where that's all gone. Cause I know robotics has obviously continued to become a big, deal and concept in crypto.
Yeah. So, I should come another time on your podcast because we're going to announce this soon. So I don't want to jinx it, but, we are going to repurpose the subnet and making it a little bit more generic, but also for physical AI, for robotics and for autonomous driving. So what that would look like, let us talk about that once the announcement is out. But I think it's going to be huge. And we want it actually not to be even just NATIX related. We realize certain needs in the physical AI space. Again, there are so many synergies between whatever is happening in autonomous driving as well as whatever is happening in the humanoid and robotics side of the story, right? World models is the same. End-to-end models is the same. There are differences, but the direction that the industry is going is pretty much the same. Real world data versus synthetic data. It's very, very similar. That's why Tesla is a very good bet for building humanoid, because they have a very good, team for the autonomous driving. And a lot of these things are the same. So we realize gaps in the physical AI by doing it ourselves. And we want to repurpose this subnet a little bit and making it not just useful for NATIX having physical AI application, but also to robotics companies and autonomous driving companies having physical AI application working with larger scale data.
Yeah. Having all that high quality real world footage is a lot of use cases, including outside of autonomous driving, like you mentioned, that data could be used for. So that's exciting. What else would you want to cover today? / like what could we look forward to from NATIX in 2026?
We will keep on selling the data and closing more deals. For us, many of these deals are extremely strategic as well. And on the other side, we are going to build world models. So this is a big statement. Why are we building world models? Because synthetic data will take market share from real world data. You like it or not. That's what the entire industry, from robotics and autonomous drive, from physical AI is working on. And this will happen, very, very soon. So we want to keep market share. And I think we have something that many companies do not have. So we want to be not just a data seller. We want to be part of the world model game. Especially for autonomous driving. And that's what we have been working on a lot. So you're going to hear even more stuff that we have been working on along this direction. And I think, 2025 was a lot of work around data and monetization. 2026 is going to be even heavier, and productization. So world model for me is a productization of our data, which increases our defensibility. And, as I said this quite some time ago, we went away more and more from mapping, and we're right now heavily focused on autonomous driving, physical AI, right? Different requirements, different league, different game, but this is where our focus is. We're still selling data to the map makers, just the front facing camera, but we're having different requirements for the entire data. And it's very, very different. It sounds a bit similar because yes, both are collecting images from a moving car, but from the type of the data, even what you do on top of the data, how you filter the data, how you collect it, size of the data, everything is different. So we keep that path, right? For me, I have never been more bullish on physical AI. I think whoever has been talking with me, I had a conversation with Sal around 1 year ago, and I was shilling him so hard, this physical AI, and he was like, okay, I'm going to go and read about it, more. I mean, he knew about it, but he was like, okay, I'm going to go like do a deeper dive. So, that has not changed, and we're going to, go all in, on this direction.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah. I think a lot of our audience is probably pretty familiar with you guys, but is there any kind of call to action or way to get involved that you have for the listeners today?
So twofold. If you want to contribute with the data, especially if you own a Tesla, get one of our devices, join our network. If you are a company or a researcher that is having anything to do with the world models, end-to-end models, reach out. We're happy to chat and support, right? So that's what I said. It's our priority. World foundational models, end-to-end models for 2026 is our priority. And I think we're going to, do a lot of stuff. We already did a lot of stuff, compounded in the last quarter, but we're going to keep on announcing and also closing more, stuff around that. So if you can work with our data alongside world model simulation, if you hear this from automotive industry, feel free to reach out. We're happy to support.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on to break the news, and congrats on the deal. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you for having me.